Welcome to the top of the world.
Welcome to the top of the world. Welcome to the Arctic. Welcome to the far north. Welcome to the concluding part, almost probably, of the Audi series. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to address the elephant in the room, which is the ride height at the back. When I done that, I knew it didn't look like how it looked like when I started, right? And I just assumed for whatever reason it would sit down. Anyway, my brother recently, 48 hours ago, paid me a short visit. We'll get into that later. And he agreed, it's just not, and it squeaked. Anyway, when I got back from the thing we're going to talk about, I had a look up to see what I'd done. The reason that sits up at the back is because I inadvertently ordered Audi A6 springs and shocks. My bad. But I done myself a favour without knowing it. The S6 sits really low, and that's no good for me for where we are. I also intend to put weight in it and a tow ball and tow trailers. So I've inadvertently, without meaning to, done myself a favour, albeit it probably don't sit quite right with the eye. Anyway, for my purposes, it's good enough. So, 2 days ago, it went for its inspection. You know, we've been through this whole import thing, rebuilding it, new rear end, now complete new front end, new brakes, new discs, suspension, engine rebuild, the works. Went for inspection, went safety inspection, MOT, whatever you want to call it. Went straight through, no advisories, no comments, nothing. Road legal, finished, runs just, I mean just, like the day it rolled out the factory. Anyway, so that kind of wraps up the whole thing that I'm doing, which is a bit odd that I would attempt to wrap up a video right at the beginning, except I'm not. So whilst that is the Audi finished, and there's been questions of why are you spending that money on the car, Simon? Why are you building it? Other than the fact that, you know, we've owned it for a long time. It was my Sarah's car originally. And then when we came, we didn't have enough money to import it and fix it and put it on the road and insure it in another vehicle. And we always had to use this or that. Or there was a whole number of financial reasons why that sat in that garage for 10 years. And was last June I pulled it out in order to fix it, get it on the road. And my Sarah, she never really liked driving the vans and didn't drive a lot at all. And this was the car, she owned a Mercedes SLK when we was in England, and she sold that. And I bought that for her, or she bought that as a replacement, because that was the right car to have in the Arctic, right? Where we're 6 months winter, 7 months winter sometimes, 5 months winter, whatever it is. We drive an incredibly long time on ice and snow. So, and yeah, that is Casper. We was here a few months ago in the snow as the snow was melting, if you remember, and he had this stick. And now we're 8 weeks away from snow being on the ground again, and he's found his stick. So, could you always throw it that way, wouldn't it? Because that would have been a bad one. So we're going to go back now, and I'm going to tell you the story of the car and my Sarah and where we're up to today. Don't focus on that. Focus on the good bits. One day maybe we'll do something with that. It has had 2 ceramic coats on it. So I think we're going to clean it up and add a third one just prior to winter, because we are going to be using this through the winter. Obviously not with the tyres and the wheels it sits on. Anyway, not bad for a silly old bodger. I think you'll agree. Okay. What are you doing, bud? He has to have a little run around and then he has to have a lie down. He still thinks he's a puppy, look. You wouldn't think he's sick, would you? No, strange. And he goes for another little lie down, look. And that's how we are. A little bit of exercise with the lie down. So is this part of the video going to be understood by the many? No. But it is going to be important to the few long-term subscribers, the few family, friends. Does any of them know this story? No, none of them. Nobody knows this story except me. So the Audi is now complete, and it was officially completed on Thursday the 13th. Today is exactly 4 weeks since my birthday. Quite significant, really, that. So let's go back now 13 years, 12 years, 13 years, 12. Let's go back 12 years. 12 years ago, me and Sarah were very new in our relationship. I'm going to go 12. Anyway, very new in our relationship, and Sarah had a reasonably ordinary life, and just as I do with every wife, Sarah being number 3, you know, turn their world upside down. We're going on an adventure, and life is an adventure, not because I set out to make it an adventure, because I'm that person. And I took a very ordinary life and turned it quite extraordinary quite quickly. Anyway, so once everything was decided and I was leaving the UK, and she was coming with me, and well, she was driving a Mercedes SLK, and we had to sell all our vehicles in the UK because we were going to Canada, right? So all my American trucks and cars and Jeeps and all of that got sold, with the exception to the Land Cruiser. And then, of course, we didn't go to Canada, weirdly. We ended up in Sweden, and as soon as I knew we ended up in Sweden, obviously we needed the van, and we, you know, we had all this stuff, and then I bought a car trailer to put a car in there, because I bring her a car, and she chose the Audi A6 because she thought it was a 4-wheel drive, and she was right, it's the best car to have come here. The story behind the S6 and the strangeness of that particular vehicle and everything attached with it was quite irrelevant at the time. And then when we arrived here, and this is where the story's going, there was no money. I just assumed I could do whatever else I'd done and go pretty much anywhere in the world and run a successful business, start and run a successful business. It became reasonably clear that I wasn't in over my head, but I was in a long way. And there was no money for the car. And it sat here in the yard in the winter, and then through the next summer, and the wind blew a ladder on it and damaged that, and I got a bit distraught. And my mate's got a house just, you know, over here, and I put it in his garage, and that's where it's at. And then when you all learnt about it, it was June of last year, when our Charlotte come here, and we went down and pulled it out on the trailer and brought it back here, and that was the whole series starting on the Audi. And I've had some questions, and I think I've answered them, about why. Why would you spend money on the car? Why would you do all that? Because my Sarah has had to ride around and drive whatever piece of shit it is that I've been driving for 10 years. And she didn't like the vans, right? And they were uncomfortable, and she didn't get comfortable. And so it went on. And so it was time. It was time to get her car out, fix it, register it, make it legal, and it would be something comfortable for her to ride in and to drive. And she would feel great with driving it, and it would allow her to be able to drive in the winter, because, you know, she would, but she didn't like it. And so we embarked on this journey. But it wasn't a journey anybody was expecting or could have known where we were going with this. And so we had the problems with the import and got over that, and then we rebuilt it and then we did the engine, and then we were almost ready to go. And on the 16th of May 2026, after extensive testing over just 2 weeks, Sarah was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer of different types of cancer in multiple organs. And so other tests were done upon information that I gave the consultants and the surgeons as to why these were different kinds of cancers and why they had been missed in the previous 3 months, when Sarah had been very sick with something completely unrelated to cancer. And I'm not going to tell that story today. For those that are sitting on the edge of their seat, those that know, there is a reason that all this happened, and there's a person behind all this happening. And am I feeling more anger at this moment than grief? I can't tell you the grief and the waves and how fresh. So while I'm dealing with that, my Sarah was always also struggling with the being in the van, the transit, and we're travelling great distances backwards and forwards to the hospital, so the urgency to fix her car, so if nothing else I could transport her in some comfort, became paramount, and we pushed it, and that's when we found the issue with the chassis, and I've gone as fast as I can. And Sarah became quite sick, and the doctors said on the 16th of May they were giving her between 3 and 8 months to live. Well, we're not at the 3-month mark. And my Sarah passed away on Sunday the 9th of August at 16:50 exactly. I was with her the entire journey. And 4 days later, her car passed its inspection with a clean bill of health. And today is exactly 4 weeks since we celebrated my birthday for the last time. So it's with deep sadness that I tell you all, my Sarah passed from cancer 5 days ago, 6 days ago. And that would explain the missing videos, because there was a lot to deal with. And I nursed her right up to the last 48 hours. And then we moved her to a special palliative care unit where I sat with her until her very last heartbeat. I'm holding it together, but only just. And there was an agreement with Sarah, my brother, that it's unlikely I would be able to manage in the immediate aftermath of such a thing. My brother flew from England and arrived just a few hours after she passed and was with me through those vital first couple of days. He's now left. The grief is coming in less waves. I've also felt that in the last 24 hours some of that grief has turned into anger, which is very bad for some people. So for those of you watching, and specifically that one that's watching, you need to stay well away from me. So, was there any malice behind this? No. Has her very sick dog unexpectedly outlived her? Yes. Was all of this a shock? Up until the 16th of May, there was no inkling, not even a small one. She couldn't be saved. There's nothing could be done. After diagnosis, it was just care. This last 4 weeks has been intense. The last 2 weeks of her life was exceedingly intense. My recommendation, having seen somebody go from stage 4 diagnosis to the end, is never, ever, ever ride that journey to the end. There's nothing peaceful at all about dying with cancer like that. So nothing's going to change. I'm staying right where I am for this moment. I have to work harder and longer now to make the business and the home that we made together work, and continue to not succeed but continue to be here, and so that I can honour my wife in a way that I don't feel that I can let her down. Some of you already know. Those that you don't, this would be a huge shock. Those that communicated with her directly, AJ, Mike, you know who you are out there. Thank you. And I'm going to continue to have a short grieving period, and then I will be back. I have already started back to work, and been operating the sawmill, and we have a lot of work to complete within the 8 weeks before the start of winter. I don't quite know how I'm going to do all this, and then of course there's the unexpected expenses that I'll need to fight my way through all of a sudden. So I didn't know how to start this video, and I don't know how to end. I'm going to tell the entire story at some point in the near future when I feel a little bit able to. And there's a big, huge learning curve to be taken from that, and it cost Sarah her life, and we're going to miss her greatly. Thank you all. We're going to see you real soon. Bye for now.
The world stretches wide forever, a silent journey, a final endeavor. But in my heart, you're always near, my Sarah, safe from every fear. Your light will never disappear. I'll hold you in the silence here.